This is my dad and my grandpa. This is approximately, about 1968, 69, I'm thinking. My father's on the left, my grandpa's the shorter one on the right. And this is in honor of both of them on Father's Day. My grandpa's family moved here from Bohemia, which used to be a country between Germany and Czechoslovakia, mostly Czech-speaking people. They moved here a year or so before he was born. So he was born in 1895. His father was a tinner. He made things out of tin, containers, cases. I have a violin case made out of tin. And he repaired pots and pans. His wife was from a wealthy family, but gave it all up to come here and get married, to marry him and come here. They said, oh, well, it's either him or the family, wealth, blah, 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 so they gave it up. Anyway, it has streets paved with gold, and they still say that to people in other countries. That's why so many people want to come here. But, be that as it may, he grew up kind of on the poor side of town where the immigrants were, and he was self-taught for the most part. Then he went to a business school and became a businessman. He bought a small factory. He had a potato chip factory that made potato chips for the local institutions, hospitals, and schools and things in my hometown. And was a well-respected man in town. He was able to retire early. So when I was a little kid, we'd go down the street. We lived about a block away. We'd walk down and hang out with Grandpa all day, and he taught us all kinds of things about science and things like that, nature. Like he'd fill a bucket of water, and he'd say, "I'll bet you I can swing this bucket around and not spill a drop." And my brother and I would say, "No, bet you can't." And he could. I mean, it's called centrifugal force. Keeps the water in the bucket. Anyway, various things like that. And he was very creative. He hung out in the basement at the workbench and created things. My father was an only child. And my father grew up to be an electronic engineer. He also worked on the Gemini space missions as a communication panel design, blah, blah, blah. Worked for Collins Radio, which was bought out, and when they were bought out, they laid off a lot of the senior people, so we ended up moving to Missouri. My father played the oboe in a community band. Very creative as well. I remember many times being in the basement at the workbench. My dad had all kinds of gadgets he was inventing too. And electronic things and teletype machine and all kinds of nifty stuff that I'm just so glad was in my past. He was a ham radio operator. Very interested in cultures and people. We used to listen to radio stations from the Netherlands and South America, which, gosh, in the 60s was, pretty special. Both my grandfather and my father were kind people, loving people. They taught you to look beyond the outer shell into a person, and they gave me interest in other cultures and other nations and things, and I'm very thankful that they were both in my life, and I miss them both very much. But this is for anyone that's got a dad out there that still exists on this plane. Tell them Happy Father's Day, if it's Father's Day in your area. Tell people that you love them while they're still here. Sometimes you may have a fight with them or something, but it's things that you can take away from learning from them, even if, you can learn from everyone. You can learn not to do what they're doing, or you can learn to do like they do. I admired my grandfather and my father, and like I say, I miss them very much. They instilled so many cool, nifty things in me. The, the desire to communicate well, the love of cultures, the love of music, and I miss them. Happy Father's Day.